When it comes to influencer boxing, there's a lot of big fights people want to see. Jake Paul vs KSI, Joe Weller vs Danny Aaron, FaZe Jarvis vs Fortnite. But I think the fight people want to see the most is Deji vs Alex Wassabi 2, which is not just the ultimate rematch, but the ultimate redemption. Let's talk about it. So when it comes to the rematch between Deji and Alex Wassabi, the first thing that stands out is the first encounter they had back in 2022, with this being built as Deji's big comeback, as he suffered 2 defeats in his last 2 fights, and with his transformation from the Vinny Hacker fight to the Wassabi one, it looked like all the stars were aligned for him to win. But as we know, it wasn't meant to be that night, as even though Deji did show great defensive skills, his ability to come forward and showcase offense wasn't there, which gave Alex the chance to showcase his skills, which he did rather well considering it was his first fight, if we don't count FusiTube. And since that fight took place, a lot has happened. Deji took on opponents such as Fusi and Swarms, and showcased great ability to come forward and really pile that pressure. And yes, I didn't forget about Floyd. While Alex took on opponents such as iDubbbz and Luis Pineda/B-Dave alongside Nick Lamau. And again, Alex showed improvements, dominating the fight with iDubbbz and even dropping Pineda, a former opponent of KSI, aka Deji's brother. So with that being said, why does this fight need to happen? Well, it needs to happen for a variety of reasons. The first being that when Deji took this fight with Wassabi, he switched trainers a few weeks before the fight, and while he did have some good moments in the ring, seeing Deji face Wassabi again, but with the more experience he's had with Coach Daly, we can really see the full version of him. Because yes, even though he did defeat Swarms and Fusi, Swarms at that time only had 2 fights, fighting KSI, which he clearly wasn't ready for, and Ryan Taylor, which only lasted a round, whereas Fusi's previous opponent was Slim, and we all know how that ended. But again, because Deji dominated both those fights, and Swarm's only chance was to counter Deji in the corner, and Fusi's only attempt was to try and catch him with a lucky shot, so because of their limited experience, we'll truly know how good Deji is against Alex Wassabi, whose previous opponents faced the likes of Dr. Mike in iDubbbz, and Pineda, who faced the likes of KSI and B-Dave, who Deji apparently avoided for the supercard. So we're definitely going to see an improved version of both guys in that ring. The next reason is out of all of the fights Deji had, this one just makes the most sense to run it back. Because yes, Vinny Hacker did defeat Deji, but I do believe it was more to do with Deji's weight than anything else. And we all know Jake Paul vs Deji isn't happening anytime soon. And I don't think Floyd Mayweather wants it again. And his opponent for the supercard, the Wood Savage, who will probably get destroyed by Deji. But that's exactly why we need to see this fight with Alex, because we need to know, is Deji as good as his coach makes him out to be? As good as KSI says he could be if he trained like him? And I don't even mind Deji taking easy fights if that's what he wants, but at the same time, he said that he would smoke Wassabi. So I think for the fans, for that loss he suffered 2 years ago, he wants to right that wrong. And for Alex, he can prove that it wasn't just a bad night for Deji, that he actually is good for influencer boxing, that he can beat Deji again, even with his added experience in the ring. And the best part is, if Alex wins, he can go on to other things, like fighting Slim or Gibb, or face Jarvis/Ben Williams. But if Deji wins, alongside those future opponents I mentioned for Alex, we can run it back for a 3rd time, which would make it the 2nd trilogy match in influencer boxing, behind Yudi Gang and Cray Cray. So yeah, that is why Deji vs Alex is again not just the ultimate rematch, but the ultimate redemption. But what do you think? Does this fight need to happen? And who do you think will walk out victorious? Let me know in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe, support the channel via the link in the description, and more importantly, take care.